Coach, really gutsy second half performance, especially to do it without Wade. Just what'd you learn about your team?
Well, I think it was just on display publicly. As best I can, I've tried to give words to it, but the character of the guys, the consistency of who they are as people, but also who they are as teammates and workers, I just think it was just publicly displayed. But internally, we see that sort of thing every day. Oklahoma's a very talented team, down 18 to anybody in this league with 17 minutes to play is hard to overcome. But to have the wherewithal, maybe, or the belief, or the will, the drive, all of those words that you would use that are intangibles, I think that's a competitive advantage for us. It doesn't mean it's always going to work out, but as someone who's a fan of those sorts of people, I was glad for the seat that I had for the game.
Hey, Buzz, I know you never expect what you saw from Zhuric, the other night, 34 points, right? But especially if Wade's out again or for a while, is he a guy that you can count on to actually take on that role as the, just this offensive leader and this offensive force that if not carry you, that can, lead y'all to?
I think he's a great leader. I don't think you can, similar to what I mentioned after the game, I don't think one player can replace four as far as his gifts. I don't think one player can replace four in regards to his IQ or his leadership. But I think the staff's plan of how to disperse the things that four does was spot on. And I thought it was executed really well. I know Zoo had a really good offensive performance, but you could argue he's been among the better perimeter defenders in the league for his time here. I know league play just started, but the pace at which he plays with the ball, without the ball, the tenacity that he competes with, I don't think that maybe twice in the 6 years we've been here has there been a player score more than 30 points. So no, sir, we do not count on any player to ever do that, but we do count on them to give their best on both ends of the floor. I think he's making improvement in regards to his turnover rate. I think he's making improvement in regards to his consistency of going to the offensive glass. And those things are encouraging because he does a lot of other good things along with it.
I guess just along those lines too, Wade's been out 2 of the last 4 games now, and just how valuable has it been for your team to learn how to play and also win without him on the floor?
Yeah, I don't know that we have it all figured out by any stretch, but I think that the practice reps maybe are just as valuable as the game reps. You're going to practice more than you play, and so how our staff has constructed what we're practicing and making sure that as all of the movable parts are trying to accumulate reps of things that they haven't done as much because of four's presence. I think we've tried to handle those reps and those roster changes with as much precision as you can. Our playbook is for sure shrunk without four. Our defense hasn't changed. Our rebounding responsibilities haven't changed. But I think we've probably spent more time in staff meetings trying to ascertain, should we do this, should we not do this, and who should be on these teams when we're doing that. Because if you play Wednesday night at 8 and get home at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're probably not going to practice on Thursday. But you have to do some level of preparation, but it's probably not going to be physical. And so the only reps we get in preparation for a top 5 team is today and Saturday morning. And so how are we going to do that in those weeks that you've mentioned? So I think our staff's been really accountable in that way, and our guys are aware of it. We've tried to be a little over dramatic in making sure they understand why we're doing this and have an understanding of why we're doing it.
Maybe from a symbolic standpoint, just how notable is it to have a top 10 matchup inside of Reed?
Yeah, when's the last time it's happened? It's probably in one of these.
It's never
It's never
First
happened.
time.
It's never happened.
First time ever.
Really? Did you put that in the notes,
I did,
Brad?
yes.
Where would it be located? I'm
Right
gonna
there in the first,
keep it.
first paragraph, I believe.
the first ever top 10 men's basketball matchup in College Station. Holy smokes! Yeah, I'm gonna put that in my journal for the day. That's pretty cool. When was Reed built? 1989.
1998.
Dyslexia. I apologize. 1998. Olin was still in college. Where'd you go to college, Olin?
I did not go to college, coach.
What were you doing in 1998? Were you married?
I was, no. I was working at the Tyler Morning Telegraph, Tyler, Texas.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Are you from East Texas?
White Oak High School. Probably never heard of it.
Are you out of your mind?
It's not, it might be smaller than Van Alstyne.
It is not smaller than Van Alstyne, and I've been there 1,622 times because my entire family is from
Longview,
White
that's
Oak,
right.
Longview, Tyler, Gladewater, Center, Tenahaw, the whole path.
Your mom being-
And Mark Sartain,
Good football coach.
who is from Van Alstyne High
Right, I did
School,
not know that.
who eventually was the head coach of the Cardinals of Trinity Valley Community College,
I remember.
also
Yeah.
White Oak High School.
Yeah.
Coach Sartain is from Van Alstyne. He's a little older than
did
me.
not know that.
And East Texas Baptist University, where my youngest son plays ball.
How about that?
So I'm all over White Oak.
Okay.
And my uncle, who married Corey and I almost 25 years ago, has now retired and lives in White Oak.
Is that right? I'll be dang.
And the basketball coach at Tyler Junior College lives in White Oak. And so when I send him mail, I send it to White Oak.
Interesting. Well, I'll stand corrected.
So 1998, Alex, you weren't even born.
No, I was born in 1998.
The year Reed was built, no, the year you were born.
That was the year I was.
Memorable year. Wow. I didn't know that. Thank you guys for telling me. That's awesome.
Yeah, but just how cool is it to be a part of that?
I feel honored. I feel very special to be transparent with you. And I'll make sure that I tell our kids that today. My question is what time is the game?
7.
Yeah, I will tell them today. Thanks for asking. That's special.
You guys have been pretty good at 3-point defense, but OU was able to really get hot in that game. Were you able to put a finger on why you guys had some troubles against them and just trying to correct that against a team that shoots more threes than anybody else in the league?
Yes, sir. We watched all 24 3-pointers attempted yesterday. That was one of the things we did to try to learn from what happened in Norman, but also, to your point, to prepare for tomorrow. I anticipate Alabama, who statistically shoots more threes than Oklahoma, will probably shoot more threes than Wednesday night. Last time we played Alabama, 58% of their shots were from three. They shot 41 threes out of 71 attempts. And so that is one thing that we talked about. I do think in the previous 14 games, we'd done a good job. And I also want to give credit to Coach Mosier. They did a perfect job in attacking our weak side coverage. And when you make shots, it looks a lot better. And I think they shot 58% from three, which was better than what they shot from the field. So a credit to their coaches too, and players.
Speaking of that point, obviously you guys come in with a defensive plan, obviously a really good defensive team. How do you account for, if at all, somebody just having a career night like that? Yeah,
I don't think that you do. I think that was part, just to be honest with you, two was otherworldly. I think prior to that game, two had scored 17 total points in the previous 5 games. He eclipsed that in the first 17 minutes of the game. Obviously, you prefer that to be when it's somebody on your team. But a lot of the action that they ran to get to the shot, we actually defended it appropriately. And as you guys know, our defense is kind of wired a specific way. And our guys, they weren't perfect. And there were things to learn yesterday. And we're trying to diagnose some of, in the 5 years we've been here, we haven't played Alabama every year, but how are they getting threes, which is a little different, in my opinion, than how Oklahoma gets threes, to make sure that we're prepared for tomorrow. But I don't think you do account for someone having a career night, because statistically speaking, that's not what will consistently put you in position to be successful. Credit to our guys that amidst the display he was putting on, I thought we continued to try to execute what we want to do.
You already stressed rebounding, especially offensive rebounding. How important is this one going to be on the glass, considering that Alabama's third in defensive rebounding and rebounding per game?
It may be the line of the game. They're 18th in the country in offensive rebound percentage. And because they shoot so many threes, for sure, 3 of those guys will be rushing to the rim from the perimeter, depending upon who shoots it. Sometimes it's 4. And the NBA players they have, the NBA athleticism, the NBA length, is a portion of why they're so good. But I also think, just from watching it, I think with each passing year, it seems as though from maybe a coaching standpoint, they've become more and more committed to the value of offensive rebounding. And so I'm a little partial to the category of rebounding, but I actually think that's what will determine the winning and losing.
You said earlier this week, maybe jokingly or not, that you weren't sure if a team was going to win in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. So I guess, are you glad you get them at home?
Yeah, TJ said something to me so it would have been Thursday morning, about, Coach, we got a good home slate. And I was like, okay, explain that to me. And he was like, the teams we play at home. And I said, okay, if that's what you say. And he goes, well, we play so-and-so and such and such and such and such. And I go, well, who do we play on the road? So-and-so and such. I go, I guess. I mean, just put them in a paper bag and shake them up. There's, statistically speaking, it's the best league in the country. I do think playing at home matters, but I think success in any league will always be determined by the value of road wins. And so the protection of home court, the environment that you play in, your success at home, all of those things are important. But they're as good as any team in the country. And I personally, when you look at the experience of that roster, the talent of that roster, I don't know that they change how they play, whether they're at home or on the road. They won by 30 at home, or they won by 20 on the road thus far in league play. So how they play and who they are playing with is not just superlative in the SEC, it's superlative nationally.
I know you said that Wade, or you were frustrated and upset that Wade couldn't play a couple games ago. I'm sure he's equally as frustrated that he can't be out there, but just how pleased were you during the Oklahoma game with his presence on the bench and just how he was coaching the guys that were on the floor?
Yeah, so you guys know this. I rarely look at my phone, and when I do look at my phone, I look at it at certain times of the day. And I wake up really early. And so it just so happens that my alarm was going off on Thursday morning as I was receiving a text. And that's typically not when I look at my phone. And the text was from Mason, my youngest son, asking me what I was saying to Four and Henry at the end of the handshake line. What I was telling Four was, I know you're going to play for a long time, but if for some reason you would like to abort what will be your first career, I would love to try to recruit you to a different career, and we could start it today if you want. And he goes, Coach, I want to play. I said, man, you did an unbelievable job coaching tonight. I mean, just his impact has continued to increase in his time here. A portion of that, in my opinion, is his actions and his words have become the same. And that's really hard to do. He has always had the right words. His actions have continued to improve. But when you're not playing, if your words still carry weight, it speaks to the relationships you have. And like the things he was saying in the huddle, as good as I've ever seen, particularly because of the environment, particularly because of how things transpired the last 18 minutes. But I, multiple times in the second half, out of my right eye, I could see him standing up. And several times, what'd you just say? I said this. Yeah, say that again. Like, that's right. Say it again. I just adore him. I do a really bad job coaching him. I've said that before publicly. I've told his dad that. I've told Four that. I just adore him. And I'm just a huge cheerleader of who he is and what his story has become and will become. But he helped us. He helped us. And I thought he was tremendous.